Ta-da! What's up? Happy New Year! If you just received a Cricut machine and would like to know what kind of projects you should get started on, because there is a lot of projects that you can do, and it's kind of overwhelming when you go into the Cricut design space and see all those projects that you could do that's beginner friendly, but then you just don't know what to pick. Let me pick it for you. Get this free bad boy SVG file, and let's get crafting, shall we? Let's go. Alright, the first thing we want to do is go down to the Magical Crafting Library at Ivy Lillies, click on the Mini Heart Piñata, and it's going to show you this. Then you're going to browse in Cricut Design Space from pressing upload, then you press browse, then you click on your file that you've downloaded, and then it pops up. Trust the process, just save it as your name and then upload it, and it will pop up just like this, even in the same color. So then we have to come over here and ungroup the whole project so we can select each individual pieces, and then these two are still grouped together, so we have to go and ungroup those. Now we can select that inner side rectangle, come down, press that score button, then it changes those cut lines into score lines. The machine will know exactly where to draw your line to where you can fold it later on, right? Then after you do that, you want to attach it with the little paper clip symbol. Just like you're attaching papers together, this is what you want to do. And if you think my holding the phone was not steady enough, well, this is the reason why. Trolling around, mama crafting with little ones around. That's just how I can get things done, and that's okay. It's okay to craft when kids are still awake. We're going to do the same thing from the side panels to the door. Yes, I'm sorry, you totally took a tumble. Again, would it be one of my videos if you never fell? Like, you're gonna fall at least one time in each of my videos. That's just a given, unless I do it completely at night and nobody's with me. But even so, I have little kittens that are testing out the tripod stand, and you may just fall with them too. Back on track. If you want to resize this, we need to select the button, select all button, and then make sure this little thingy is locked up. And then you come down here and press that little square down there, pull it, drag it to the size you want. And this is about 6 inches, give or take. And right before we go and press make it, we're going to save it, because we don't want none of our work to go to waste. Give it a name, and then choose which setting you want to save it as. I just did the cloud. This is kind of new. It never popped up as how it asked you the question before, but that's okay. Select your preference, and now we're going to hit that make it button. And hi. Before you continue on, we have to change our cardstock size. I only have 8.5 by 11 cardstock sizes, and when you change it in the computer, it changes what pieces will be cut on what papers. Now, for this, it doesn't really matter because it's all one color, but if you have different colors, different layers, you want to make sure the color you have is the same size that is showing up here. And since both of my hearts can fit on one paper, I moved it over just by pressing those 3 little dots up top, and then you can select your page that you want to move it to, and there you have it. And once I got done with that, I was like, oh, why is it connecting? Oh yeah, I never plugged it up. Little one's helping me plug it in. Such a big helper. She probably unplugged it to begin with. Really. And we're doing score lines, so you want to insert the score pin before you insert your cardstock. Just make it a habit. Okay? If you do that first, then you'll never forget it. And then you won't have to repeat your project cutting again because you already have your pin in there. Once you got everything set, your paper's firm. I say paper, but it is cardstock. It's medium-sized cardstock. On my blog, I go into more details about it, but for here, it's just your regular cardstock that you can find at the store. This is from Hobby Lobby. I had brown left over. This is what I'm using. Once it gets done cutting, you want to bend your mat and then take your cardstock off. If you just rip your cardstock off, it's going to be curled, and you don't want that. And then you just repeat it until all your things are cut out. And I decided to add a detail piece to the top, so I just got the normal heart, the top piece that's all put together. I just made it cut it out again, but on actual paper. Now this is paper, not cardstock, so you can change the setting to paper or white cardstock if you wish, depending on how the texture feels. There you have it. And after that, we need to sort them out, rearrange them, our tops, our bottom, and then we have our side panels. Now here we're going to fold the tabs over just one direction. We don't need to be both directions. They're all going one way. Fold them all over. And then once you have that, you do the other ones, the door and the other panel. And now we're going to like bend it, manipulate the paper, let it fold a little bit. So this will just be easier to work with when we have to glue it onto the heart. Now, this was my very first mini piñata that I designed. And you will see in just a few seconds why that is. And this is also why I've left this specific one free for you to do. All my other ones you can find on my Etsy shop at Ivy Lillies Crafting Co. You do have to pay for those files, but they are a lot better quality, designed wise than this piñata. I mean, if you want a better piñata, I could make it for you. Let me know in the comments. But really, it's piñata. You're not going to see this imperfection when you add the crepe paper. So this is why I just left it as it is. All you need is a few little dots. Not a whole lot. This is a new glue that I was testing out, so I don't know how it was going to work out yet. But future me is impressed. It's pretty good, and it does dry fairly quickly, just like my Beacon and 3-in-1 glue. The reason why I didn't have that is because I couldn't find it in Hobby Lobby when I was there. Oh well. And here's my predicament. This part, it doesn't line up. I feel like it did line up when I first made it, and this time around it didn't. Maybe I didn't do the top part all the way down like I should have, just a little bit. But you know what? It is okay, because nobody's going to see that but you. You're the only one that's going to know about that. So it's okay, right? And while our top is still off and we have all this access, we're going to use that to our advantage and put our door in first. Now the door, you can have it lifting up or lifting down, like you're pulling it down. It doesn't really matter. That's all up to you and your preference. I have it to where you're lifting it up. You just go hold that in place a little bit and let it dry. And it just pops on in. And also my better quality mini piñata SVG files have a little hole for the door, so you can just pull on the string and the door opens up. But you know, you live and learn, right? There's nothing really terrible about this file. And before we glue on that top, I almost forgot to add the string. And this works so much easier when you don't have a top and you're trying to manipulate the string through the holes to get it through the other side. Just skip that and do this part real quick. Saves you a headache, and you can tie it after you put the back on, the front on. Now this does take a little bit of patience, but it does all come together. I suggest starting from one little section, putting on there, holding it a little bit, and then moving on to the next section, just to make sure each piece is drying before you move on to the other little part. And you just gotta push them in there, manipulate them. You can take your weeding tool to help hold it, push it through where you need it to. This is the final look. Now we add the crepe paper. Now I do go into more detail on the blog about how to cut this, but I have found out recently that I kind of preferred this method overall. You just take your crepe paper as it is, glue it on there as much as you want. I didn't have so many layers this time around, but I just glue it like that. And with this door, I wanted to show you, once you glue that part there, you can just go back and cut the part where the door comes out. That way you don't have to go back and search where your door is to cut it out later. You just cut it as you go. Glue the crepe paper down, cut the little slit for the door, repeat until you cover it all up. And the same thing with the strings up top. You want to cut a little piece of the paper around the strings, that way it can hang properly without having to lift up the paper behind it. You'll know once you get to it, but that you would want to do that too. And this glue does dry clear, and you don't see none of these glue spots after it's dried, which was a nice bonus. I don't really like seeing glue chunks in the project, you know? And after that, I took my scissors and went back through and fringed my crepe paper this time around. This does save you some time. It really does. Or you could just leave it like this because it's cute like this too, right? I kind of like it like that, but I also like all these little fringes as well. You're just going to snip underneath it however spaces you want. Very easy. And the sides is also up to you. I've done multiple ways. I've done it little tiny pieces of fringe all the way around. I've just decided to do it this way, where I just rolled the crepe paper around it all the way around, the whole thing. And then I did it again a second time. So we have 2 layers, right? But this time I'm only doing one line in the middle of glue. That way the edges will stick up. And I will go back with my scissors and fringe just that last layer up. So you still have one layer down, but this top piece, we're fringing it so it can look like this. And you can leave it like this. It is cute like this, but I'm extra and I want to add ribbon. I've done with this with the other ones and I really like how it turned out, so I'm doing it this way. And I had this cute, adorable sloth heart ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree a few years ago, and now I'm using it, right? There you have it. So cute. And if you want to add a name to it, you can add names to the top. Just cut the name out of cardstock, or, you know, add some paint to it or glue, right? But I like this. I like this method. Just use some double-sided foam tape, or you can glue it, but the double-sided foam tape adds a little dimension to it, you know? And then you just make sure you got the top piece and not the back piece, right? Push it down and there you go. It's gonna be there. And here's the back. And here's the door, a little hidden away like it should be. Little string to hang it up. Very cute. Very easy. That's my daughter, and she suggested putting a little bow right there. And here's the reveal. It turned out very cute. I do like my daughter's idea of putting a little tiny bow right there. That was very nice idea.
Hi, I designed the bow idea.
And if you want to have these right here, the love donuts and the X and O with the bacon and donuts, that's free too over on my blog at ireallythis.com/magical crafting library. Ta-da! There you have it, our Mini Heart Valentine's Day gift box. Piñata. It's really a piñata, right? It wasn't very hard. It did not take very long. And once you do more than one, it gets really quick and easy. I did this within a day. Probably took me 30 minutes hands-on. As much as hands-on as I can get with kids around, right? You saw that. And the kids are asleep and the cat goes and bumps you around, right? I just can't win. Can't win with kids, can't win with the animals. These kittens are just like kids. They are kids. They're babies. Well, hope you enjoyed this crafting sesh. I enjoyed making myself another mini piñata because I am obsessed with making mini piñatas. I don't know why. They just come easy to my brain to make and repeat, and that's what I do. There'll be more in the future, of course. And the mini piñata SVG file, check. Catch it on Etsy, catch it on the blog. I see you around. Subscribe, please and thank you. Also, I almost forgot. If you want to know what you will be putting inside of it, what will fit in there, here's a little clip for that too. And you have the little trap door in the back to add some goodies, gift cards, candy, some little nail thingies. You know, I do like nail strips. Those can fit in here too. Lottery tickets, you know.